Okay, thank you.
They're
She's
coming.
coming. One
Followed by Robert Smith and then Dianne Post. Did someone say Ms. Rasmussen Licata was coming?
Come on, people.
Okay, then we're going to go on to Mr. Robert Smith. Who's next? Is Robert Smith here? No. Dianne Post.
Ms. Post?
Followed by Susan Bernstein.
I'm a premium poll worker. I've worked for 20 years with the polls, and that means I've got extra training, and I work for 18
Madam Chair,
Rob.
just for the record, because I'm really trying to follow who's testified and who hasn't, could you just start with your name?
Dianne Post.
Perfect.
Thank you.
And I worked 18 hours that day, and I was on the poll book, so I have a lot of technical information that I would like to give you about how the poll books worked or didn't work, which I can't do in a minute. But I want to mention a couple of things. No one yet has mentioned what happened to the poll book that I was using and I know other people in my precinct were using. And that is, when you get to the last screen for a provisional voter, it comes up, select party, select ballot type. The type being which CD district you were in, 9 through 1, etc. So I would, sometimes I actually had their registered voter card. It would say Dem. I would select Dem. I would go down to select ballot type. It would only give me Republican. This started at 9:30 in the morning. I called over the inspector. We went over everything. We could not fix it. This is what we did. From then on, and I started keeping track of what was happening. It happened for 36 times for the rest of the day, and I kept track of every one. And what happened then was I was required, supposedly, to give them a Republican ballot, which I did not do. I gave them a Dem ballot.
30 seconds.
I pushed the tracker receipt. On it, I wrote, was Dem. So they could audit it and see why there were more Dem ballots gone. So they could actually check the audits. And then they voted the way that they said they voted. And sometimes I actually had their registration card that said how they were registered. And as far as changing the voter registration, I started keeping track at 5 o'clock, and I worked till 8. I had 19 times that a Democrat was called a Republican, and 3 times that a Republican was called a Democrat. So in answer to some of your questions, we did run out of ballots. There seems many things Ms. Purcell does not know. We did run out of ballots. We ran out of CD9, and we ran out of CD5. I've done this for over 20 years. That was the smallest room I've ever worked in, and it had the least parking I ever worked in. At the last election, we used the same poll books. I was the inspector at that election in my precinct. We never had one problem. So something changed between then and now.
Thank you for your personal experience. No, ma'am.
Oh, not yet. Not done.
1 minute. You members, let's hear what she has to say. Let's use our time wisely. We have a question. I thought it was really relevant testimony. Representative Carter, please.
Thank you. That's why I wanted to clarify the name. Did you email all of the members of the committee? Okay, because I want to make sure that because I want to let you know that I turned that story in, and I really appreciate you taking time to email us to provide those kind of details, because with those kind of details, we can hopefully find out what went wrong.
And as far as your calling people to speak, I signed up on Saturday.
Okay.
To speak here today.
But thank you for emailing the committee members, just so you know we did.
Detailed information.
Thank you for your ingenuity too. That was helpful.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, the next individual wishing to speak. Eating into your time. Eating into your time. This is your time. Let's get the next individual wishing to speak.
Susan Bernstein, followed by Stephen Cormany and Donald